Get a job in tech, episode 405. Have you ever heard of a stay interview? Meaning, it's like basically they probably know that you're your valuable resource, and they're just like, you could call this a quarterly review, you could call it a yearly review, whatever. But I call it a stay interview. So basically, they did some numbers, right? And they found that if individuals had a stay interview, they would have up to 90% of people that leave were preventable. And 70% leave without voicing their true reason. And the signs were there 6 months ago, essentially. Reactive approach versus proactive retention. So someone says, like, better off elsewhere. Truth is, they stopped growing in your company first. Work-life balance issues. Truth is, they tried to tell you 8 months ago. With everybody returning to the office and now working from home, probably going to see this more often. No growth opportunities. You missed 12 chances to promote some individual. Feedback. So the proactive approach could be, a stay interview could be something like you're catching they're going to leave, so you're going to catch it early. You're going to understand beforehand. You're going to like maybe put in place maybe like a not a 5-day office, but maybe like a 2-day office, something like that. And you're going to, because that colleague there who has all that knowledge, or maybe it's a couple people, that's your core of the company. And here's some warning signs. Some of these studies have been out there and found the top talent leaves after 3 ignored suggestions, meaning you're suggesting something for the 3rd time. And you're like, we're good. 2 missed growth opportunities and 1 broken promise. A stay interview would ask, what would make you reject other offers? What do you want to grow? Where do you want to grow? And what barriers can I remove? This has a higher impact on retention, actually. We're just asking those 3 questions and actually implementing them. So you start by having regular scheduling stay interviews. You don't call them that, of course. You create a environment where they know that they have 2 days off a week. Not 2 days off a week, but they can work from home, or they can work in the office 2 days, or they can work from home 2 days a week. Maybe like a Monday and a Friday they work from home, something like that, or a Thursday, Friday they work from home. At least they have a weekend, a full weekend, meaning they travel somewhere on a Wednesday night and they're somewhere in another state Thursday, they work from home. They're still there Friday, they work from home. And Saturday they're there. And then Sunday they drive back. Or you could conversely do it where it's Friday, Monday, where Thursday night they leave, go somewhere. Friday they work from home. Then they're off Saturday and Sunday. And then maybe Monday they work from home and then they drive back. You want to ask the right questions as well. Train managers on effective interviewing techniques and integrate feedback into actionable strategies. You're probably going to see something as well in the future, probably most likely, where you're going to have, probably not going to name it stay interviews. They're probably going to name it quarterly review or maybe a monthly review, something like that. It depends on how many people they have. It depends on if it's a large company and do they see the market trend. Probably a good example or a good idea for a company to do this would be to interview individuals, have maybe a monthly interview for their job. Maybe their job is, let's say, it's a sysadmin, let's say, and maybe they're concerned about people leaving for whatever reason, and they want to just say, how do we retain individuals? Well, they just would interview them, have a third party maybe interview them, have them questions. And what it does for the person, like, let's say it's me, I'm realizing, okay, I have the skill set or I don't have the skill set. I feel confident. Yeah, awesome, fantastic. And what's going to what's going to happen is it's going to, the company, if they do this, or they care about it for that matter, they're going to say, well, either the people that work there don't have the skill set, or the people that work there have a higher skill set and we need to pay them more because the market says, because of all the skill sets they have. For example, someone works at a company in the IT, let's say, that's a great place to work, and they're a sysadmin and they also work as a net admin. Well, those are two different jobs in some other companies. I mean, how could you possibly know? How could you manage all that essentially? You're managing firewalls if you're a net admin. You're managing switches, routers, configs, managing updates, router updates, switch updates, probably even managing the hardware itself and all the rules. Maybe you're a public facing company where you have a BGP peering, let's say. So you have to deal with that. And then you have sysadmin. So you do both. And sysadmin, they could just say you're a sysadmin, meaning you do servers, you do Windows servers, you do Linux servers, you do maintain laptops, let's say. And it's good if it's a small company. That's fine. But it gets really complicated because how could you manage all that in your head, or even manage it for that matter? You'd have to have two totally different skill sets, two individuals doing two different jobs. So you'd have to have a network admin do that fully on the network side, and then you have to have a fully dedicated sysadmin for that. If you're a company out there and you see that, you're going to get that. You're going to interview someone, and you're going to find out, oh, that person knows a lot about networking and systems admin stuff. Well, if they leave, we can't replace that. So we need to either pay them more money or hire in another individual and offload those tasks to someone else. Offload those tasks to maybe another sysadmin or a net admin. That way we're not just stuck, essentially. And people will appreciate that, essentially, because if you find out the market rate, let's say it's $100 an hour, okay, for a sysadmin and a net admin. So you could do that. You can give them a little pay raise, and you could do a little pay raise, and you can send them to, say, training, let's say, or give them a conference, so they know what the other market is like out there. And yeah, it really depends on what the company wants to do. If they don't mind just keeping the person at the same two jobs and then paying them more, then that's fine. Just give them a little incentive to stay, because after a while he or she's going to get burned out and say, I'm good. And then you use a company, you're not gonna have recourse for that. All right, thanks a lot. We'll see you next one.